Thursday, October 2nd. It is in the afternoon. The Padres just lost to the Chicago Cubs by the score of 3-1. The best of three series goes to the Chicago Cubs. 2-1. Final scores in the series 3-1, 3-0, 3-1. So there's a theme here in the best of three series. The Padres season is over. Padres are going to enter the offseason now with a ton of question marks. Disappointing game number 3. Don't know that anybody wants to hear this, but what was said at the beginning of this round of the playoffs was the team that wins game 1 was what? 12-0, 12-0. And true to form now, that is 15-0, I want to say, because the Dodgers won, the Tigers won, and unfortunately the Chicago Cubs won. Won't last forever. Might not even last the day. Not the most important thing. Heartbreak, really. Disappointing, I think, just in the moment. We're recording just a couple of minutes after the game ended, so it feels very raw. I think there's plenty of time for some level-headed analysis. I don't know that that's right now.
No.
I was not exactly prepared for this to end. I think part of that is me not wanting to face some of the things, the decisions that I think are going to be discussed over the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks, John, but really, really disappointing. I can't say it's a huge shock based on everything we've seen all season long. I do want to say I appreciate the whole community from Section 1904, especially everybody on the Discord channel going back and forth all day. I do want to get that out there early. Doesn't matter if you're not an active participant on the Discord channel, but it just, listen, we all saw the same thing. The offense, it's been an issue. It's been inconsistent all year. You were hoping that there were signs of life from some of these players, but ultimately it probably was never going to be consistent enough to go ahead and win a championship. So that's why the Padres are out. The Padres will not play at Petco Park at all this year. I think that's a really, really big deal for this organization, which is why I keep going back to it time and time again. But just such a disappointment, John. It is such, no matter how long I'm in this business, I never, ever get used to the suddenness with which these seasons end.
Yeah, to the point that you were subtly making about not being ready for the end of the season because of the offseason questions that are ahead of us. I saw some of the people that the other day were criticizing you for saying, hey, maybe this is the end of Preller. And maybe this offseason is the end of Preller. Either he walks away or he's let go or whatever. And those people going, you're crazy. They'd be crazy to let him go. There's no way that happens. I saw like 2 of those people on social media today during this game go, you got to get rid of Preller. Look at what he's destroyed this team. There's no farm system. They can't score runs. They spent money on all this garbage that doesn't. So yeah, it's gonna be an ugly, messy offseason, I fear. But let's start right now. Let's get messy right now, because God, am I disappointed in Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, and I don't mean to single him out, but I think he is the most important player on the Padres, even if we talk about that player often being Manny Machado. I think it's actually Fernando Tatis Jr. He was also the best player on the Padres this year while not having his best year. And he was atrocious in games 1 and 3. Like, it wasn't like he had an off game. He was, not only were the results not there, where you would go like, yeah, that's baseball, that happens. The decision making was so bad that I'm not even mad at the people who were like, oh, Tatis just wanted to get to Cancun. Tatis just wanted to get to the offseason. Like, it did kind of seem that way.
It did from the first pitch of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, what were you swinging at there, my guy? What is this? What's going on?
I texted Dylan from Letters to AJ a couple days ago. He wrote about how Tatis was kind of meeting the ball a little bit earlier, and that was leading to the power at the end of the season. And I texted Dylan. I said, I saw that, and I actually worried, because when you're trying to hit the ball earlier to pull the ball, that means you get less of a look at the ball. And sometimes that means you're swinging before it even begins to break. And that's where guys get really susceptible to just embarrassing swings on breaking balls. And I feel like that kind of came true. I feel like my worry kind of came true. Also, not to be a dick about it, but I basically said that I thought how this series was going to go was Cubs, Padres, Cubs, because game 2, the Cubs had no. I mean, they didn't need to win that game. Yeah, their backs ended up against the wall in game 3. They would have probably liked to avoid that, but they didn't need that game. They knew they had another home game the next day. But yeah, it's very hard for me. Like, I'm not mad at Darvish. Like, it wasn't a good start. He's 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically admitted that his arm is holding on by a thread. He didn't have a good start.
No.
I thought the
No.
bullpen was okay. Suarez seemed like he had some trouble, but I don't understand what they did with Michael King in this series. No idea what Mike Schilt was doing with Michael King in this series. And at the end of the day, the offense was absolutely crushed by two main things. One, your leadoff hitter, who sets the tone and gets the most at bats of anyone else, looked like he didn't want to be there. And two, having the O'Hearn, Sheets, Cronenworth back to back to back made it way too easy for Craig Counsell to get out of any kind of jam that his pitching staff ended up in. Because he would just get right to that point. All right, I'm bringing in a lefty. And good luck. And I still don't understand why Freddie Fermin wasn't batting 8th. Would have prevented some of this.
Or O'Hearn batting 5th.
Or
I
O'Hearn
know
batting
Xander
5th.
was good. Just
But
saying, you could have. There were options there. You could have done either one of those two things.
And you could say, like, if Jason Adam is healthy and Ramon Laureano is healthy, maybe this is a different series, and maybe it is a different series.
Oh, I don't. Listen, they were without their best starter.
Which one?
The Cubs. So.
Oh yeah,
it's
true.
I mean,
that's true.
Everybody's got to deal with something.
Everyone's got to deal with it. Yes, I know. I'm just pointing out. Like, it's not Gavin Sheets' fault.
Sure.
He wasn't even probably supposed to be in the starting lineup for this playoff series until a couple days ago. It's just, I'm so disappointed in Tatis. I can't get over it.
Yeah. John, I kind of was rooting for him. He ended the game and ended the series in the on-deck circle. And Jessica Mendoza on ESPN was saying, he is on the on-deck circle here. If Freddie Fermin is to get on, even though there was runners on second and third, and if Fermin gets a hit, it's a tie. But, you're sort of imagining, is Tatis going to get another moment here? Tatis finished the series, I want to say it was 1 for 12, I think it was.
Something
1 for
like
12
that.
with 4 Ks. That stat is floating around out there. It's not
God.
very good. So, and I thought, that would have been just. That would have been just because, Tatis probably should be the guy in the batter's box here while this series is on the line. And, I mean, whether he came through and it's providing another huge moment, or whether it's him failing in a big situation, and he did seem to shrink today a little bit in the moment. There was a lot of deja vu to Game 5 last year against the Dodgers that the Padres ended up losing 2-0. Now, they only got 2 hit in that game. Today, they had a little bit more, and they scored a run, and they got the tying run to second base late. They had the winning run at the plate. So, you're starting the grit squad stuff in your mind, but they couldn't pull through. They just couldn't. But I kind of wanted that. I was like, I mean, let's just sink or swim at Tatis here at the plate, but never came to that. I'm with you. I think the one thing that I was kicking myself for not asking, and I texted some of our friends locally in media to say, hey, I might have missed this. It's possible that I missed this. Has any explanation been given for the Michael King decision? For Michael King not being a starter? And I must admit, I'm kicking myself because I didn't think too much about it. I said earlier today when Marty joined us from Chicago that I like Darvish. I think he's, he does represent a little bit of an emotional leader, inside of that place, and that they are confident with him. And only seeing King come out and, Darvish, listen, he got out of there after an inning. Estrada came in. It was a high wire act. He did the best he could. He threw 30 pitches. King comes in for an inning and throws 19 pitches. And I don't get it. I just do not get it. He is on regular rest. What was what was going on with Michael King that they've already given up the 2 runs. They've only scored once, but we don't know how things unfold. We don't know how the rest of the game unfolds. I just was like, I started texting some of our media colleagues and saying, was any explanation given as to why it's Darvish over King? And if you're going to use King, why is it one inning? Now I'm looking over my shoulder a lot because Mike Schultz just got done speaking in Chicago, and I'm sure he's going to be asked about this. And I don't know what kind of answer he's going to give. My guess is it's an unsatisfying one. But I'm at a loss for what the thought process was with Michael King, unless there's just something we don't know, that he was incapable of giving you any more than what it was. But you get that guy out there and you get that guy on a roll, and who knows, maybe he gives it up too. Suarez ends up giving up a significant home run in this game, but he's called upon for a role that he's never done in baseball, in Major League Baseball before. But I just don't know. I do not understand what was going on with King. I don't get that and I don't know that it's ever been explained why it was Darvish over King. Classic second guess. Didn't say it this morning. Not trying to make it sound like I think it was 100% wrong. How could you have? But I thought King would be in this game. I just thought it would be for more than 19 pitches.
Yeah, I was surprised. Actually, I listened to a lot of this game on the radio, driving up to a little weekend getaway here. And Tony and Jesse, when Estrada started warming up, when Darvish got in trouble in the second inning, third inning, I think it was the second inning, they were initially perplexed as to why is Michael King not up? And then they landed on, oh, they must not want to bring King in with the bases loaded. They must want to give him a start with a clean inning.
Right.
And I don't even think he came in the next inning. I think he came in after that, right? But okay, can we pause and be nice for a minute?
Well, let me just get it straight here. Darvish went 1+. Estrada came in bases loaded. He ended up going 2 innings. He didn't allow any runs. He gave up 1 hit. So it would have been to start the 4th inning. Michael King comes into the game.
Yes. So he didn't even. Yeah. If I could be nice for a minute, Cubs played a great game. Cubs were great. Like,
sure, defensively.
Jameson,
they were as advertised.
Defensively, they were insane. Insane. Jameson Taillon, he was awesome. He was just awesome. I sent an article to our buddy Dylan from Letters to AJ this morning that I found that pointed out that Taillon used to struggle against lefties, and then he changed how he threw his curveball, gave it more vertical drop, and now he's like absolutely nails against lefties. And Dylan texted me like halfway through this game. He's like, every single lefty just cannot see this curveball. He's like, it's a super pitch for him. But he was awesome. Almost everyone out of their bullpen was really good. The defense was good. I thought all their at bats were good. Like I'm not saying like they crushed it, but like I think 7 out of their 9 hitters got hits. And when you're in these moments, the team that wins, you sometimes feel like I saw it coming, right? I felt the magic was with them, and that the Padres were getting into some trouble. There was 2 moments that I was like, "Ooh, that's not a good sign," and it's like not a baseball thing at all. But there was one moment where Darvish gets the guys on second and third before he hit the guy, I think, and loaded the bases. And the umpire comes out to try and ask Darvish if he's going to pitch out of the stretch or not. And from what the radio call said, the umpire and Darvish were having a really hard time communicating with each other. And then the crowd started booing because they thought Darvish was doing something. And I'm like, oh, that's like Darvish is trying to focus on pitching. And now he's got to deal with like, oh, the umpire didn't understand my English, which is a thing that he's been open about. Like he's pretty shy about his own English. And now the crowd is booing, even though he didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, that's a bit of a head game. And then Estrada comes in into the bases loaded situation after his first at bat or second at bat. The umpire gives him a warning and says he got set too fast. And he's like, hey, watch that. You're getting set too fast. And I'm like, the guy's trying to fucking pitch. The bases are loaded. It's an elimination game. And the umpire's like, hey, buddy, slow down getting into that set position. And I was like, there's just too much stuff going on that's taking their focus away from the game that's in front of them right now. I was like, this did not feel good for me from the second inning on.
Yeah, and there were other moments too. I mean, you could certainly sit here and spend a bunch of time, John, and you might have been listening to this one. It was it was pointed out on television with video. Luis Arise not running to first on a play that ends up getting bobbled by Dansby Swanson. Yeah, it's just the kind of thing when you're going down, when the ship is going down, it's just what you don't need it. You don't need that
Mhm.
at all. That was tough to see. That was really tough to see. Again, the King stuff I think is really confusing. But all of these things, all of these details, and you hate it. It's cliche, but it is the Denny Green. They were who we thought they were. They
Yeah.
really were at the end of the day. They didn't play well on the road. The Cubs played well at home. They didn't want to fall behind. They ended up falling behind. All of the things that we thought about the team just ended up being true. The pitching was going to be good. It was going to be good enough. They gave up 6 runs in the series, but only scored 5. I think I have that right. Cubs scored 6 runs in the series. They
Yeah,
scored
because
3 in
yesterday
the
was 3
first.
on. Yep.
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 So they scored 6. The Padres scored 5, but ultimately the Padres just couldn't do enough offensively with their stars, with the guys that they played that come through in these situations. They couldn't do enough to get them to the next level. And that's just a story that it's seemingly now becoming the story and the theme for a lot of these guys who are going to be older next year. Jake Cronenworth is going into his age 32 season. Manny Machado's in his age 33 season. Xander's in his age 33 season. So this is another season now where you can say, we know these contracts are going to end poorly, but what we're paying for is the front end of them. And the front end of the contract ends up really early in this process. To not even play a game at Petco Park where you've sold the building out 72 times is going to go down as a disappointment. I don't care how you slice it. I know if you're building resumes in baseball, you're going to say go into the playoffs 4 out of 6 years. That's a really big deal. I'm not saying it's insignificant, but not getting to play a home game in front of your crowd that's been that good and is going to look at a bunch of changes this offseason. Arise is probably out. O'Hearn is a free agent.
Right.
Cease is a free agent. Suarez is probably going to go. Michael King is probably going to go. There's probably others that I'm missing here. And those are just the things that we know. That's not even the speculation about some of the other stuff. So, those are big picture kind of things. But, I can't help it. I don't have a better way to say it. I just think at the end of it, I was excited. Like I thought, I love watching. Like I allowed myself to think this is what I want to happen. So I'm going to say it into a microphone. But when you think about it now, just a little bit less than an hour after the game ended, they kind of were who we thought they were. And the things that caused them to lose this series are the things that people had pointed out time and time again might cost them in a big moment.
Yeah, and this is why it's been difficult to love this team this season, because HJ Preller, not AJ Preller, HJ Preller from the Intelligence podcast has been saying all year long since this before the season even started. He's like, "This is the year to push in on." He didn't want to hear it from people who were like, "Trade away Arise so you can get something back. Trade away Cease so you can get something." He's like, "No, this is the year to push in on." Before Arise disappears and Cease disappears and O'Hearn disappears and Suarez disappears into free agency. And we all knew that was true. But I think we all kind of knew that this team wasn't really good enough to win a World Series or even really a playoff series. And 2 things. One, I do think what you said on the podcast this morning about Garrett Cole is relevant to the Michael King situation. We even had someone in the comments of this live stream saying, maybe Michael King wasn't right and his agent didn't want it revealed in the playoffs that he's actually injured and he's not healthy enough to pitch because he wants to go into free agency and go, "Oh, I didn't have enough time to come back. I was rusty. I'm actually feeling great now. Go ahead and sign me to a big contract." That's certainly a possibility.
I can see it. I feel like that's been an underlying theme.
Right.
Not that it makes him a bad person. I just think it's been an underlying theme with him all year.
And the other thing is, there's definitely going to be people within the Padres organization that are going to shit on this team. And they're going to get into arguments with people who go, "Hey, they went to the playoffs back-to-back years. They won 90 games." And they're just going to go, "And no home playoff games. That did nothing for us." And it's not true. You sold out 72 games because you won 90 of them. Like, people were excited to see this team because they won a lot. Not that they played an exciting style of baseball, but they won a lot. And they have superstar players. And those things matter. But they might not matter as much as home playoff games and the revenue that you get from them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, especially when you've given as much as you've given to add to this team, right? When you get to the level of payroll that you're at, and you've traded away the level of prospect capital. We understood that this wasn't just to play a couple of games in Chicago, man. That was not the motivation behind this.
Right.
So, there's no other way around that. That was not so you can have Don Orsillo scream 4 out of 6 years. That was not the point of that.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a little bit of self-preservation there about trying to make sure everybody's getting to the playoffs to give yourself an opportunity. But I don't think these were the kind of moves that people thought was just going to result in two or three and done, three and out. I will say, just because I know we'll go into greater detail, and plenty of people will probably point this out that Mike Schill, his record as a manager in winner take all games is now 1-5. 1-5. So today was a winner take all game. He lost it. Last year against the Dodgers, lost it. So 0-2 with the Padres. When he was with the Cardinals, they had a single game wild card to the Dodgers, lost it. They lost game 3 in San Diego during COVID. All right. Yeah, I'll take that with a pinch of salt if you want. Went 1-1 in 2019. So 1-5, and I think 9-14 overall as a playoff manager. Listen, it was a surprise when he got fired from the St. Louis Cardinals. 90 win seasons. What's going on there? Something doesn't quite add up. Don't know. Do with that what you will. Speculate to your heart's content. But people were sort of floored that a manager like this would get let go after another successful season. Well, do with those numbers what you will. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money invested in this team to go back-to-back years in elimination games and no show last year. And all right, you put up a little bit of a fight into the 9th inning. You got screwed by the umpire, man. We all understand it. Yeah, everybody can scream about ABS all they want. But those numbers are his. They belong to him. So they belong to Mike Schilt. So I don't know if there's something that's just a little bit off with this guy in moments where the lights are the brightest. I don't know if there's something about him philosophically. Clearly, the Cardinals felt like he wasn't the right guy despite some of the success. And now we're seeing a glimpse of this here. For all the grit squad bullshit, all the other sort of stuff, you got paid and elevated into this position because you were supposed to help this team get through the postseason. And last year, a massive egg laid on what I thought was the best chance that I've seen professionally in San Diego to advance to a World Series, and they ghosted the last 2.5 games of that series. And then you sort of were wondering what it was that was happening here. So he has to own that record. That's his record. That's nobody else's record. That's Mike Schultz's record. So what are the comments said? I know why.
Yeah, I said, nah, you know why, Darren.
I don't know why what. I don't even remember what I asked. But I just think I would like to point that out before it gets lost in everything else that's going to be said into the ether over the next couple of days. In winner take all games, he is 1-5. And I think he's like 6-12 over his last 14 or whatever it is in the playoffs. So, are you seeing why it is that it was such a surprise that a guy like Mike Schilt was let go by the St. Louis Cardinals, where he spent 30 years of his career and nobody wanted to hire him? No, nobody was interviewing the guy. I mean, he was begging people to write stories about him. Couldn't get an interview, but ended up getting the job here, and then ended up getting an extension out of it as well. Bottom line, though, players got to play. Players got to play.
Yeah.
Guys didn't earn their money. Guys didn't show up in this series, and now another postseason ends in disappointment, and we all wait to see what's happening. Let me just say this real quick, because I know I got fucking dragged on Twitter by a bunch of randos the other day. I hope I'm not right. I hope I'm not right. I hope that AJ Preller is going to stay. I do. I don't want to be right about that. I hope he does stay here. But I have my doubts. I do have my doubts about that.
Yeah, I should go back and find this.
And this series didn't make me feel any better about them.
No. And there was right before the series started, there was an article, and I think it was by Kevin Acee, and I apologize for not having it on hand because it bothered me when I saw it enough that I was like, I should bring that up at some point. And Kevin Acee wrote this article that started with the Padres are out there taking defensive practice before the game. And that's a thing they've done all season long. Most baseball teams don't do that. They'll do it for the playoffs, but they don't do it during the regular season. And most baseball teams are not practicing running the bases every day during the season, but they'll do it in the playoffs. And Mike Shildt has had his players doing it every day before every game all season long so that they could be ready for this moment. And I'm sorry, and I don't even want to make this about the Mike Shildt, you were never a ball player, so stop pretending that you were type of thing. But if everyone else is doing things a certain way, I don't think doing things a different way automatically makes you right. As a matter of fact, it has a better chance of making you wrong. And this whole series was a lot of Mike Shildt and the players and Manny going, hey, man, we're just playing our game. Just every day, playing our game. We've been doing this all season long. No, man, this is the playoffs. I used to make fun of Bobby Cox. That was the Braves manager forever, right? Bobby Cox. Because, in the 90s, there was two managers who were absolutely fantastic. And one was Bobby Cox and the other was Joe Torre. And Joe Torre, for the most part, managed differently in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. That was when he would start going, all right, Rivera, we're bringing you up for 2 innings at the end of every game. It's just what we're doing. And Bobby Cox would be like, nope, we played a certain way all year long, and we're going to keep playing that way because it wins us games. And it's like, it wins you regular season games. The playoffs are not the regular season. And when you walk in going, we've been doing this shit all year. No, you haven't. I don't think you understand. And when your loudest player is talking about, I don't want to hear the word urgency because blah, blah, blah. I don't think your guys understand until it's literally the elimination game. I don't think they understand. Or game 2, I guess, which is elimination game.
Do you not understand urgency when you see Adrian Morejon coming out of the bullpen for the 3rd straight day?
Right.
Do you not understand urgency when you see Kittredge coming out and pitching for the Cubs for 3 consecutive days?
Which I said wouldn't happen. I was wrong about that. Craig Counsell
Well,
called
they
me on
had
my
to.
bullshit.
They were
I know.
running out of people, John.
Yeah.
Like at the end of that, I know you're trying to scramble here and get ready for sunset. But like they were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, they're this dude who's out there he's hitting everybody.
That's why
they don't have any options here. But like, do you not understand then why people think that these things they're managed differently? The vibe, the energy, everything about them is different, man. So like, pick up on that a little bit, would you?
So this is the last thing I want to say about this Padres team, and it shows. And I'm not going to sit here and judge them for it, but it shows a weakness of leadership and character, not for the individuals, but for the team itself. And I said a version of this yesterday. They are a completely different team when they have a lead or they're winning a game. And I don't get the feeling that is true about the Cubs. And I'm not saying the Cubs are the same team every day, but like this Padres team is real quick to give up when they're down. And the Cubs were not. And they're real quick to celebrate when they have a lead. And the Cubs seemed more like, let's get some more. And until this Padres team can show me that they're not going to get mopey when things are not going their way in the first couple innings of a game, I don't know that I'm going to trust them. I don't know that I'm going to trust them to do anything more than, get to the wild card series and lose.
First swing of the game was like, what was that? And then even after the, there was a moment here where Estrada comes.
This guy said they had Matthew Boyd up in the pen.
Yeah.
Up at the Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
they actually made a point of it on television that the game 1 and 2 starters were both warming up simultaneously.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when you see this in the playoffs. It's just,
That's why I liked the thing earlier when they said Pavetta
it's Johnny Holstaff. That's
right.
why again I'm kind of confused by King in the one inning, man. Yeah. I just wish I had asked more a little bit about that, but I didn't, and I'm not there, so I'm sure other people will pick that up and ask the same question. It's an obvious one. What did I want to say real quick? Yeah, I mean, let's all take a breath and have a cup of cocktails and see where we're at tomorrow. It's real easy today to say things that are indelible, right? Like, I don't think you're going to win with fill in the blank. Manny, Tatis, right? I don't know if you're going to win with this guy. I don't know if you're going to win with this guy. I don't know if you're ever going to win with this guy. So, maybe a night to, but it's just another sort of you go melting into the off season again. It's not like you're out there and just back and forth and back and forth. It's just another whimper into the end of your season, just like it was last year. And that's, that's the kind of thing that does lead to change. I think you can only go back to this, but for so many times, but they're also not going to have a choice. They are going to be making changes, and it'll be the first full season of John Seiler. So maybe he will pop out from whatever hole he's been hiding in, and say something, and we'll learn a little bit about where this organization is going and who is calling the shots and who's really got the power. So I think that's sadly going to be, instead of good job, get him next year, I think it's going to be an awful lot of what's happening, what's going to happen around here. So again,
worried about that too.
I do not want to be right about this. I just think there's a real chance that this might be the end of the road for AJ, and that's not even me saying that I think he's going to get shit canned. I would like to be wrong about that. I would extend him, for the record. Like, I think that he's
same.
I would. Maybe I'm just addicted to the juice. I don't know. I mean, I keep thinking about that. Do I really think he's a good GM, or do I just think that he's desperate to win? And even if he has a quirky style to him, I am addicted to the action, though. I'm a little bit of a Prellerholic. I will admit that. So, maybe I need to think about that a little bit as well. John, you go enjoy the sunset. Thank you, everybody. We'll do it again on Friday morning.